Hi everyone, welcome to the Tradie Success Podcast. Really excited to be here with Hans Mills from HK Roofing, and we're going to dive into Hans's experience in the roof plumbing industry, and also how he got into business and created more time for himself to do the things that he loves, and the journey through the academy and how that's helped. So really excited about today, man. It's going to be a good chat.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me today, Greg. I'm really excited to share my journey and in business and also in my trade, and how TSA has really helped me out along the process. So yeah, real excited, man.
It's been exciting watching you grow, man. Like, you've come in super excited into the academy and you've really embraced the program, and we've seen you just level up every single month. It's really exciting to see. So let's dive back. We're going to go and figure out when we want to inspire people to get into the roof plumbing industry. How did you get into the industry to start with? What excited you about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It all stemmed about 10 to 15 years ago when I met a good friend of mine. I moved over to Melbourne from New Zealand 10 years ago, and I've had multiple different jobs. I was doing door knocking when I first got here, car sales. I worked at a burger restaurant, furniture removalist, and then I kind of didn't really have any direction. And a good friend of mine was like, why don't you just come do some labouring at our roofing company? And next thing led to the next, and about a year later I started my apprenticeship because I didn't really have any end goals or any goals in terms of a career. So I thought, I'll give it a go, and here I am now, and I've loved it every day. I'm outside, well, not so much now that I'm in the office a bit more, but I still get the opportunity to get out on the tools when I can. So yeah, and it's been awesome. I'm still learning a lot every day, which is what I love about roofing. And yeah.
So interesting. I went down a similar journey when I started my electrical apprenticeship, not really knowing what I was doing. I was gardening and, just doing odd jobs for Integrated Group or whatever it was, just sending you out to random labouring jobs.
Yeah.
Ended up in an ABB transformer building as a labourer.
Yeah.
And then saw the electricians sitting in the office, like they would come out, test some stuff, go back into the air-conditioned office while we're out sweating, like building these transformers. I'm like, going to be electricians.
Yeah, so, a good one.
Interesting how we fall into things.
Yeah.
But so what would you say about the trade that, could inspire a young person to get into it?
Well, it's like, as I said before, like, you're learning so much every day, and with roofing, it leads on to so many other aspects as well. Like, we at HK Roofing, we also specialise in skylights and external cladding as well. But like, we do architectural roofing, we do roof replacements, and we learn about skylights and stuff too. And you're outside every day, and that's what I love about it. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting about any trade. You're sort of given these new challenges that people haven't done before, and you've got to figure out a way to make it come to reality from the architectural plans with a builder, So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's the fun part of it. Like, and I found I don't know what it's like in electrical trade, but like there's multiple different ways to do the same thing. Which is what I love, and we've got multiple employees, and they all do their things different ways. So it's cool seeing that in the trade as well. Yeah.
What do you think now? Obviously, being in the trade for a while, and you've got employees and stuff. What's the core things that make a good roof plumber and a good roofer? Like, what's some of the traits that are outside being a good person that makes someone like exceptionally good?
I think what I've found over the years is you really do have to build a good relationship with the other trades on site, especially because being a roof plumber, I mean, obviously the frame's got to be built, but you are crucial to every other trade going inside, and especially with electricians and plumbers, they've got to do their fit offs. So I think if you can work in with other trades as well on site, and follow the plans and always have a lot of good communication, that's what really runs a good roofing job. Obviously, it goes without saying, a high quality of work at all times, and being able to run the job efficiently. So, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see people go wrong, like when they're not communicating? What's the biggest issue that happens as a result?
Just builders calling you, and there's problems, things that aren't followed on the scope of work. So I think sometimes it's just a lack of communication between people running jobs and what actually needs to be done. But I'd say that's the crucial one. And sometimes it's delivery dates and stuff too with material. That's pretty crucial. I mean, in roofing, a lot of it is dependent on material, and because you're sometimes ordering an entire roof, it can take multiple days, sometimes weeks to arrive. So that can definitely build up the pressure in builders and stuff too. But as long as you're good with the communication, people are generally pretty understanding. So yeah,
it's part of a build anyway.
Yeah,
isn't
correct.
It? You can have things, but you just got to let people know it's happening.
Yeah.
So many experiences of all it took was just a phone call or a message just to let someone know, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's just you sort of try and hide behind the fact that something's going wrong, and I don't want to be to blame.
Correct.
And then it causes all of these issues.
Yeah, sometimes things they're not always in your control. But the only thing you can do to control that is to be open with your communication and stuff too. So yeah, like you said, all it takes is one phone call, and to stop the stress. So yeah,
I love that. So I know you're really competitive yourself. Like you've just done a marathon recently that I know of. Like, what got you into being competitive and really focusing on good performance, because that's coming through in your business as well?
Yeah, thanks for that. So that probably does lead on to me being a bit of I've been an athlete most of my life. I started, doing athletics and adventure sports. I used to do 6 and 12-hour races with my dad, and I've always just been in the understanding, why do something half-assed when you can, give it the 100% effort. And that's kind of what stemmed into me doing my my apprenticeship, and obviously getting my license to be a roof plumber, and then obviously starting business as well. I said, why not just give it your all? And the one thing for me, and I assume it'd be for most people, if you don't have a goal, it's hard to really strive for something. And that, I guess, with my marathon last year, that's kind of what I had. I had 8 months to do it, so I made a training plan, and I hired a coach and a nutritionist, and I thought, I'll give it my 100%. And I was really, really stoked with how my marathon ended out. I still ended up walking some of it, but I still had my time goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got my first official marathon. I've done 50K before, but a first official in a race marathon coming up 2nd of July. So pretty excited about that, but also set the goal, join the competition, have a plan. And it's what we see a lot of people that join the academy just don't have. They sort of just hope that one day things will be better.
Yeah.
And without that plan, that structure, and those implementation of the important things, how can you drive anything?
That's really true you said that, because when I first started at TSA, I had no plan. I had one subby, and I was just working week to week, or sometimes you're working invoice to invoice, and I didn't really have any structure in place, but I didn't really know where to start, so I was so overloaded. But until I started getting some goals and stuff in place, it can kind of work in increments, and one thing leads to the next, and it's worked really well for us so far.
Yeah, cool. So you said you started with one subby, and you've grown to tell us what your team is now.
Yeah, so when I was an apprentice, actually in my 3rd year, my business partner and I we started just doing weekend work, and then in 2020, I think just after COVID happened, actually, he left for New Zealand, and I was I'd just been freshly qualified, and I went out on my own. Started the company, and he was back in New Zealand at the time. And then I had a friend of mine, he moved over from New Zealand, and he was a carpenter, and he started doing some subby work for me. And then into 2021, I had 2 subcontractors, and then my first full-time employee wasn't until the start of 2022. And now we are at a team of 8. So we've got two office staff part-time. There's myself and Kevin, who we're co-directors in the business. He moved back from New Zealand because we were so busy, and it was really starting to take off here. And then I have 4, we've got 4 full-time employees as well. So we've got 2 teams running. We run it in one roofing team and another cladding team, and they kind of run autonomously now, which is really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So exciting. And there's so much more to grow. That's been in the last
It's only the start. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's only the start.
We're on the hunt for some apprentices now, because we don't have any apprentices at the moment. So that's
All right, guys, you heard it here first.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
It all
Awesome.
starts somewhere. And it does really happen. It does really happen really quick, and it clicks, and you're like, man, this is awesome, and
Yeah.
still going along for the ride.
Yeah, we definitely notice like the people who have some sporting background where they've applied themselves to a discipline, really succeed in business in that they can use the skills they learnt in their sport and transfer that across to business. So you definitely see that.
Yeah,
Also,
which
to optimize your performance for the sport that you do is no different to optimizing your performance for running your business at the best possible.
that's so
Um,
true. Yeah, no, it's really, that is really true. It's like, I treat it like when I used to play rugby. I played rugby for 15 years, and going to rugby trainings, you got to do it twice a week. It's the same as it could be the same as business coaching or setting some time for business development. You just got to show up and do it. Sometimes it's not the motivation that gets you there; it's always the discipline. So, yeah,
I love that. Yeah, it's consistent gains over time, and you can't just go out and do a 6 hour run and hope that you're going to be sweet for the marathon. It's like an hour a day every day.
yep, that's it.
Making sure you're consistently doing it, and
Yep.
your body adapts to it, and you become better and better and stronger and fitter and all that stuff. And it's no different to business, and that's what I'm really excited about in the academy at the moment is really transferring that sporting analogies into the trade. And it's exciting to see you take it up and do that.
Yeah, it's been.
So tell me about your 6 and 12 hour races with your dad. Like that's super interesting.
Yeah, so
Back in New Zealand?
yeah, so that was back in New Zealand. I would have been 12 or 13 at the time. My dad and we kind of bonded over doing a lot of outdoor pursuits like kayaking and rock climbing, and we decided to do an adventure race. It was 6 hours, and we ended up winning the 6 hour race. It was the biggest 6 hour race in the Southern Hemisphere at the time, which was really cool. It was the first one we'd ever done, and we won it. The next year we got disqualified though, but
What for?
we hit a dummy checkpoint when we were orienteering, so we were pretty gutted about that one. But that's all right. Lessons learned. But the fun part about doing that though was it was the actual process of it, like doing all the training and building up to it, and you just felt so achieved by the end of doing it. That's what I enjoy about most of this stuff is like the marathon training. It's not just actually doing the marathon; it's the whole lead up to it, and that's what I love about setting goals, because it's not always the end result that makes you the happiest. Sometimes it's just actually following the process.
Yeah, there's been races that I've pulled out of because of COVID. Like I was training for a UTA 100 in Sydney, Blue Mountains, and COVID hit, and the race got cancelled. And I was like, thank God, because I am wrecked, like training. But but I pulled out of it, and I instantly a little bit disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to do it. But at the same time, that calibrated me to perform at my best and train, and I was focused and I was creative, and I was really effective at work as well as a result of my training.
Yeah.
But when you've got a race coming up, like it gives you a reason to exercise, and it's you want to I really understand the importance of having a competition for your health and personal performance, but also some goal or competition that you set for yourself in business that drives you and motivates you to take the actions necessary to get you there.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting you said that around the adventure races.
Yeah, it just makes total sense. And like once you do one of them, the next one gets easier and easier. It's just building the foundations to keep building up.
Yeah. What do you feel like you're least confident about when you're in business to starting out? What was the thing that you feel like really?
I guess it was just confidence around, I guess, invoicing and pricing projects and stuff as well, because I was still learning the trade while I was in business as well. So I guess I leaned heavily on Kevin, my business partner, with pricing projects and stuff like that, and invoicing. So, but I actually ended up, I've delegated all that stuff to our office admin now, so I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about being a business person. We talk about it in the academy is you're trained to become a runner as a tradie, and you learn all the skills to do the trade really well. But when you start business, you're pushed into a swimming pool and you've got to learn to swim. And no amount of running is going to make you a better swimmer. And it is a completely different sport. Business is different to whatever trade you're in. and you've got to learn a whole new set of skills. And the best thing is when you do grow your business, you can still, I hear a lot of people, I don't want to get into that because I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. You don't have to. Someone else can do it. Like someone can work for your business and do the stuff you don't want to do. And you usually can, grow to the point where you've got some flexibility to choose the things that you want to do when your business is big enough.
Yeah.
So are you starting to notice that yourself now?
Definitely. I mean, I lean on my team so heavily to do a lot of the tasks that I used to do that used to just stress me out. Where now I've learned how to delegate or even automate some processes, so that it just makes life a whole lot easier. But you're so true when every trade owner is like, oh yeah, I could run a business because you're good at your job. But it's just so different, and I think you really do need to seek business coaching, and that's why I came to TSA, because I was really struggling and I knew nothing about business when I first started. I didn't even really know how to invoice properly or use Xero or reconcile or anything like that. So once I got on board and I got an admin and stuff involved, and it just made life so much easier.
Yeah. So the whole disciplines like that you have as a business owner, when you're a sole trader or you're new to business, like you don't understand it, and you hear this saying of like you wear all the hats, and all the hats is effectively a different. You got a hat on, but all the hats are like it's the different sports that you have to play within your business, right? And I see it as like you've got 5 core sports. It's business development and work generation, getting the work in. Then there's doing the work. Then there's ops management, there's admin, and there's systems and strategy. There's 5 different roles within the business. And as a sole trader, you're doing all of them all of the time really poorly, because you can't actually it's like when you get in, I don't know if you've ever done triathlon, but doing triathlon, adventure sports, like you don't ever get really exceptional at any one of the sports because you're constantly you only do 2 or 3 trainings of each sport each week.
Yeah.
And so you never really get exceptional at it because you can't focus on it. And it's a bit like running a business as a business owner that does it all. You're trying to do it all, but you never really do anything well. And it's not until you start to hire people in the roles that all they do is that, and that's how they can eventually become the best players in your team, because they just do that.
Yeah, you
Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And like you said with the triathlons, like you definitely can't perform when you're wearing too many hats. So you just really do have to learn how to delegate. And now that I'm in that position with the business, I can have office days, and now I can go work on the tools without having to wear too many hats, and I can focus more on the business development and building long-term relationships with builders, and really making sure we've got work generation into next year. I mean, at the moment, we're already booked for the whole year. So now it's just about building those relationships and making sure we do a good job.
Yeah. And scaling into that so that you can actually do more and provide more service and at the quality job that you do. So, yeah, awesome, man. So love to speak to anyone that's thinking about getting into business or, struggling in business at the moment. Like, what do you have to say to them around what you feel like would be the best thing they could do in terms of like in their business from your point of view?
Well, I guess an obvious one is that there is people out there to help you. You're not alone. And the biggest thing for me was when I came to the TSA, I saw a whole network of people that were on the same page as me, struggling. You're not the only person, working late at night doing invoicing or, doing those kind of tasks and losing sleep over. You do always have people to lean on, and there is a great support of people out there to help you through the process. Don't ever feel too overwhelmed that you've got too much to do. I mean, it's quite normal at the start, but it does get better. Sometimes you feel like it's never going to end, but once you hire one person, it's like a trickle effect. It gets better and better. But yeah, being in the TSA has been really helpful for me, because I was definitely struggling at the start, and now look at us. Like, I won't lie, you're still doing a lot, but I'm doing a lot of different things now than when I first joined.
Are you finding that you have more choice as well? Like you got I'm going to work on this because this is more suited to my skill set, what I like to do, not just thrown around by the clients and the staff? Definitely.
Like there's more flexibility. Like I'm not responding to, the super urgent matters. I'm trying to, I'm planning weeks ahead and stuff as well. So it's definitely changed. a lot since when I first started.
What about outside of work? Like obviously we've got some more flexibility within the work hours. What about outside of work? How's it changed, like actually scaling and having a team to support you?
I have weekends to myself now, which is good, or with my partner. So that's helped out a lot. Whereas before I just dedicated weekends for office work, and I never really had any downtime. But also, like, I've got like kind of like a switch off point in the day, so I can switch off and not worry about work. And I think because I've got a good team around me now, I don't have to stress too much about that. But in terms of, like outside of work stuff, like I've always, even when I first started, I was always training first thing in the morning, and that kind of set me up for the day. So yeah.
What are you training for at the moment?
I don't have any training at the moment. I'm actually doing a lot of trail runs. So a builder I met through Instagram, actually, he's training for a half Ironman. So I've been doing long weekend runs with him. So he's trying to get me to do the Sydney Marathon this year, but I'm not sure if I'll do it just yet.
When is it? I might sign up with you.
I think it's in September. That's before the Melbourne Marathon, which is in October. But they're changing it to they're trying to get it passed as a marathon major. So I think there'll be 1 or 2 years left until you can actually enter as just like an everyday person, I guess.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'd love
definitely
to do
every
some
day compared to someone like Kipchoge.
Yeah.
Man, his documentary, if you haven't seen it, is unreal. So inspiring.
Oh,
I watched it on the
he is really inspiring. He's like one of my favorite humans because he just has the best mindset about training and about his quality of life. I mean, he's the world record holder of, the marathon, but, when he goes home and he's not training, he's just hanging out with his family in Kenya, and he's a normal person, but his philosophy is one saying, which I really love, is no human is limited. So that's stuck with me pretty well.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for joining us today. It's been awesome chatting to you, and I think you're going to inspire a lot of people to get into the trade and also start a business or optimize their business. So I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks so much for having me, Greg. And if you're looking at roofing, get in touch with HK. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And if you've got any questions with business, please reach out. I'd love to have a chat. Thanks so much again, Greg, for having me. And thanks so much for the TSA, everything you've done for me and my business and stuff so far. I've really appreciated it, and I'm looking forward to the future. So let's get it.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for you, man. Keep up the good work. Chat soon.
Thanks, Greg.
See ya.